Good afternoon and welcome to Restaurant Review. It's September, they told me September 19th, 2012. I don't even know the date. More than halfway through September, time's just flying by. We're welcome to be back with you. As you know, we're here, try to be here every week, bringing you always a new restaurant and letting you hear some musicians from New Orleans. Once again, as I mentioned before, we have trouble bringing new people in, new musicians in. We're always begging you to give us some people's names. But what we decided to do is take the laborious task, of course it falls on me, to go back through our entire 12 years. Can you believe that, folks? And we're going to start pulling out some musicians and playing. You know, we've been, for the last year, we've been playing 4 or 5 of our favorites who've been on recently and that we really like. Well, now we want to give some that, you know, may be good, may not be so good, may not be here anymore because we don't even know their status. And it's going to be interesting because in some of these pictures, you'll see glimpses of like someone like me, and you won't even recognize me. I'm I'm twice the person I used to be. So that's what's going to be interesting to see those kind of things. So as I mentioned, today's the first day we're trying this experiment, and we're going to go ahead. I think this was from the year 2005. And it was a great little trio. The gentleman had performed a lot before Katrina in New Orleans as not only a street musician, but also at a lot of the bars, etc., and music venues. Had a CD out. So we're going to go ahead and listen and take a look for our first experiment to the Jesse Moore Trio. Let's take a look, and we'll see you on the other side.
It's a dealing with the consequences. Half the time, my heart is working overtime. Thinking about the road I took, it's amazing that I'm not demented. Decisions, I can't wait for trying. My imperfect visions got someone crying. Decisions, my heart's so divided. I feel so misguided.
Okay, that was, wow, peppy, huh? That was Jesse Moore Trio. Now, as I mentioned, they were back in 2005. They're going to come back and do some more of these little peppy songs. Because I was working so much on doing this last night, I didn't get a chance to check to see whether they're still around or still with us, you know. I'll try and do better in the future that we'll be bringing these older ones to see whether the person or persons are still available. His name is Jesse and then Moore, in case you want to Google him yourself to see if you liked him enough that you might want to see, because he does have CDs out, because I know he had a CD when he was in back in 2005. Well, we'll hear some more from the Jesse Moore Trio later in the show, but let's get down to the meat and potatoes, even though we won't be serving those today. We're going back to probably the most prolific ethnic cuisine that we have in New Orleans, and by that I mean Japanese. We're discussing with our guest to show that I remember when the first Japanese restaurant came, 1982, still around, and in 1990 we only had 5. Now we have 34, I believe, at last count. Now it could be a little bit off there, it could be higher or lower, but still way too many for the population that we serve. We have a very small, but it shows how much people are anxious and love Asian cuisine specifically, and Japanese being almost at the top of the list. So we've got a brand new Japanese restaurant for you. I want to say it's in the Uptown area. I like to also refer to it more as the University District and also near River Bend. So this is a great place on the fabulous Maple Street, which is the kind of restaurant row before Katrina, when magazine became the restaurant row post-Katrina. The Maple Street has a few and far between, but they've been putting more and more. So this restaurant was formerly, I think, a Mexican, not really a pretty place at all. So the owners have done a great job in renovating it, making it sparky, and we're going to let the head chef tell you what that name, and the name is Kakkoii, and we're pleased to have the head chef of the kitchen and the brother of the owner of the restaurant, and his name is TRAN. Welcome to the show, Twan.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah. Always pleased. Now, we have to mention his lovely brother David, who's so sweet to let him come on and represent, who's also in the studio watching his every word. Dave also, for those who don't know, has a well-established Vietnamese restaurant out in Metairie, in our neighboring parish, called Pho Nola. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I always get, there's another Pho when I get confused. But it's off of Veterans on, what's that, Transcontinental?
Transcontinental and Veterans.
Excellent. No? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes. So you can, if you want your Vietnamese fix, head out there. But if you want your Japanese fix, we want you to try Kakkoii on Maple Street. And it's great right now. They just opened, just in time for the influx of Tulane and Loyola students to come back to school. What more convenient place for them than right there within a few blocks of the university. Okay, Twan, let's go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into cooking, and then we'll talk about specifics of the restaurant.
Yeah. Well, I was born and raised in New Orleans, so I'm a native, and I've been working in the restaurant industry since I was 10 at my uncle's restaurant and stuff like that. And then I always worked in the restaurants to get me by when I was in college. So it was just an on and off thing that I've been doing ever since maybe 10 years old.
Wow.
So,
well, I have to ask, since you went to college, which congratulations on it, where did you go to? What was your major in college?
I had two majors. One was management, and the other one was computer information systems. So I graduated that, and you know how it was hard to find jobs here and there, so I stuck with the restaurant for a while.
Well, so, especially here.
Yeah, especially in New Orleans.
Those skills are always in need in any city, but because we're such a small town, you know, we have just as many of those type people, more than we need, especially in our economy. But no matter how bad our economy gets here in New Orleans, we constantly are opening restaurants. So you made the right decision, I think, because we're always, that's why we're still on. People told me in the beginning you'd only be on, Bob, you'll only be on, what are you going to do after the first year? Well, this is our 12th, going really 13th year that we've been on TV alone before we were on the radio. And so we continue to get new restaurants. Okay, let's talk about the exact location and specifics, and we're going to show some pictures of the outside and the interior. It's beautifully done. Why don't we start? What's the exact address on the restaurant?
The address is 7537 Maple Street.
On the corner of what?
On the corner of Hillary.
Hillary. For those that don't know that, I know if you went to Toledo, like, oh, you know that right across the street is the original Bruno's. It's called something else now because, you know, Mr. Bruno had to build this elaborate, big two-story wave of building across the street from Kakkoii. But Kakkoii is great now because look how vibrant it is with that vibrant yellow, the primary colors on it. Let's talk about now. There's parking, of course, in this area. He has a few angle spots, but everything uptown, you know, that is neighborhood parking. Yeah. Take a look at it. One thing we're going to focus later on the great painting on the above the sushi bar. You're seeing it here. But tell us a little bit about how many do y'all seat. You got a couple of dining rooms as we're looking at, and let's talk specifically about the days and the hours that you're open.
We seat about 80 guests at the sushi bar, the bar, and the tables itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the sushi bar seats about 8, huh?
No, I'm talking about total.
Yeah, but the
total.
sushi bar has about places for about 8 people?
Yeah, around 8 guests.
And then 80 in total, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, not only the sushi bar, of course, you see the normal tables in the 2 dining rooms, but he also has a large, long bar, typical bar that we'll talk about beverages later, but that's also a dining bar.
Yeah.
So you can eat there just as well. So it really makes, there's a good look at it, so it really makes for additional space. Now let's talk about, are you closed any days? Are you dark any days?
We close on Mondays.
Mondays.
Yes.
All right, so Tuesday through Sunday, and let's talk about now, we open all the way through, or we open and close and reopen? How do we do?
We open from 11 to 2:30, and then we reopen from 4 to 10, from Tuesday to Friday for lunch, and then from 5 o'clock to midnight on Friday.
Okay, so, all right, so every day we're open for lunch from 11
to 2:30, yeah.
That's Tuesday through Sunday.
No, Tuesday through Friday.
But what about Saturday and Sunday? You open for lunch or no?
No, we're only open for dinner on Saturday and Sundays.
Ah, okay. So there you go, folks. 11 to 2:30, Monday through Friday, lunch. Monday to Friday dinner, you close is what time? 5 to, you said 5 or 5:30?
No, Monday we close all day.
Tuesday,
Monday, Tuesday.
Tuesday through Friday, what is your dinner hours?
Our dinner hours from 5 to 10 from Tuesday to Thursday.
Okay. Now, Saturday and Sunday, what are your dinner hours?
Saturday is from 5 to 12.
To midnight, okay.
And Sunday is from 5 to 10. And on Friday it's from 5 to midnight.
Okay. So Tuesday through Thursday and Sunday, you stay open to 10. Friday and Saturday, you staying open for midnight for the late night dinner.
Yeah,
diners,
you're
right?
correct.
Got it. Okay, folks. So there you go. Mark your calendar so you know you can have lunch during the week and you can have dinner any night except for Monday night. Okay. Anything else you want to say about your background of the restaurant? If not, we're going to start showing some of the great food you put out.
Just like I've been in the restaurant industry from different types of food for a while, so I'm good.
Almost since birth. 10 years old, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought there were laws against that, no?
No, not if you work for family.
They don't have child labor laws anymore?
Nah, not if you work for family.
Oh, okay. Anyway, okay, so we want to move forward. Let's take a look at, you know, folks, we go through the menu pretty thoroughly. We always start off, oh, look at our director did. Wow. Pop those numbers, as we call it. If you want to call in, you know, we don't get a lot of calls on Wednesday, but last week we were really surprised. We'd love for you to call us, ask us any question about the restaurant, or talk to the chef or myself, anything about the show. So don't hesitate to give us a call on one of those 2 numbers. We'd love to talk to you. But meanwhile, we're going to take a look at our first appetizer. And this is really a real beauty because we're going to take a look at the, I believe it's a raw tuna or a sushi's chef special. And there we go. Look how beautiful. Almost looks like a flower there. Let's talk about this tuna appetizer, please.
This is a complimentary dish that you normally get if you sit at the sushi bar.
Complimentary?
So, yeah, if you have sit at the sushi bar, it's a chef special for you.
There you go, folks. That's very good. I've been telling people, you know, most Americans want to go sit, even though now it's getting more likely. I still used to, for years I would preach a single diner. If you're a single diner, the best place to go is the sushi bar because 1, you're going to get faster service. 2, you're going to get to meet the chef. And when you come back, that means a hell of a lot of difference when there's that relationship you build. But here's something even more enticing. Finally, they're putting something to entice you to sit at the sushi bar. A beautiful appetizer. So tell us what's obviously the beautiful, what we call maguro. That's the the outer part of the tuna. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then what are we putting that on?
That's ribbons of cucumber, thinly sliced cucumber strings.
Beautifully put. And is there any sauces on that, or it's plain?
It's ponzu sauce.
Ponzu sauce, folks. For those who are not familiar, I mean, ponzu is a staple And why don't you tell us what ponzu is, and I'm going to make a comment about
Ponzu is a mixture of citrus, soy, and some other ingredients. It's kind of like a vinaigrette, a Japanese vinaigrette.
Right. I don't eat it because I don't like soy products. So there's another one that very few Japanese restaurants. In fact, what I started doing is going to buy it at an Asian market and bring it into the restaurants, Japanese restaurants I dine, and that's called yuzu. Yuzu is ponzu without soy. I'm not a fan of soy. It's too salty, no matter even the low sodium. This is clear, but it's a great taste, a lemon lime flavor that really adds it. But a lot of the dishes will be enhanced with ponzu sauce. So if you like the soy, that citrus is really going to bring it to another level. So this is a beautiful dish and also very tasty and complimentary, I can't believe. Let's move on to one of the dishes we're going to pay for, I hope. Let's see what we got next. Okay, no? We're not ready for the next appetizer? I thought we would be. All right. Oh, there we go. Here's one of my all-time favorites, and that's dumplings. But this is a particular type of dumpling. One of the Asians, of course, you know, the Asian restaurants have two specialties, and one of them is this one here. That's called shumai. Tron, why don't we tell us what shumai is and how we prepare it? Beautiful serving. Look at that. Almost looks like a painting right there. Pretty.
Shumai is steamed dumpling. You can stuff it with anything. This one is stuffed with crab meat.
Okay.
And then we steam it and we serve it with a chili sauce. But then you can ask for any kind of sauce that will cater to your palate.
And that's the red sauce at the top, is it?
Yeah, that's right. That's the red sauce on the top.
For those, I think I call it sriracha. It's also some people related to Korean. Why Korean versus the other hot sauce? But once you taste that, if you like hot, that's going to be your go-to place and everything. Then is that a beautiful banana leaf? What is that leaf?
It's a bamboo leaf we use.
What kind of leaf?
Bamboo leaf.
Bamboo. Well,
Yeah.
just as nice. So what a beautiful presentation of making that boat. And again, a lot of the shumais that are in the other restaurants are either filled with meat, usually pork or beef. So this is good to have one with crab. It's very, very delicate. Shumai is my favorite because it's steamed. The other one, if you're familiar with it, is called gyoza, and that's crescent-shaped, and usually that's sautéed, so it's a little fried, which is okay, good flavor, but I prefer the steamed, and shumai here was really excellent because of the crab stuffing. Very, very delicate to go with the dough, so I heartily recommended you go and try that. Okay, let's take a look at another appetizer. Oh, they don't want to look at us, I think, for some reason, huh? We're going to move on to another. Now this, folks, it says, hey, this doesn't look Japanese at all, does it? And I agree with you, it doesn't. But it is an exclusive, a signature, unique dish of this restaurant. Tell us what we're looking at, Twan.
This is one of our signature appetizers. It's made with fried wonton chips to, you know, act like tortilla chips. And the dip is made out of chopped ahi tuna mixed with a chili aioli and then some other seasonings in there.
So you're calling it a spicy tuna dip, is that right?
Yeah, spicy tuna dip.
And that is on the menu. And boy, I tell you, it's so popular. Because the tortillas are made in-house.
Yeah,
and what I loved about them, they were very light and flaky. They weren't. First, you can tell they're fresh. They're so fresh. But secondly, they weren't heavy. A lot of the tortillas are heavy. This was very, very light. And then the dip is so in spicy tuna. It's just delicious. And of course, there's a little mayo in there. That's the only part, but that gives it a little sweetness and it gives a little more filler for the situation. But what a great way, whether you're at a table or the sushi, but especially at a table with multiple diners, because this is way too much for one person to eat. If you're going to eat this, you're going to eat very little after. But what a unique dish and what a great idea. Okay, remember we're talking to the head chef of the kitchen, and that's TRAN of Kakkoii. That's Kakkoii. How you like that? On Maple Street, the newest Japanese restaurant. How long you said you opened?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
See, we're in there before the month, folks. We're always bringing these new places for you. So just tell your friends, if you're happy for Japanese, whether you live up to it or not, take a trip. It's worth the trip for some of these unique items. And that's what we usually try and do. When you have a cuisine that's very popular like this, we try and pull out some of the unique specialty signature items so that can lure you there, something you're going to get there and not like the spicy tuna dip. You're not going to find that somewhere else. Maybe in the future they'll clone it, but right now that's a unique item. All right, let's take a look. I think we got a couple more appetizers before we move to the rest of the menu. Let's see if that's right or not. Yes, and this is one of my favorites, scallops. Those 3 beautiful scallops. Tell us what we do here. What do we call this dish?
We call it Uptown scallops. We pan-seared, and then we use a compound butter with garlic and some other seasonings. And then I make a sauce with emulsification with sake, and then we drizzle it over the pan-seared scallops.
Now these other, that's putting that sake where everybody knows you can't beat cooking any kind of seafood in some form of white wine. Well, what better white wine than sake? And I know I love it. I don't drink anymore, but I do eat it with mussels, steamed in that, or like this was really a delicious dish. Now I noticed it wasn't too spicy, so it's not. Some people are worried about the herbs. No, it's not that spicy, but really, really tasty. So once again, now this is great for one person or more than one, but nice 3 plump, delicious scallops. So if you like scallops, I would certainly ask you to go ahead and try it. Notice the numbers are up if you want to call, speak to Twan or myself about anything about the restaurant or about the show. Please do so. Meanwhile, let's move on. And as you see, because we're doing a little bit more appetizers than normal because we don't have the full line of soups and salads, although we do have a soup that we're going to be showing you in a moment and also a couple of salads. But let's see if we have any more appetizers. Nope, there we go. Now, for those who've ever been to a Japanese restaurant, almost invariably, we found out at the Sushi Bar, you get that great tuna appetizer, but regardless of where you sit, you're going to get this wonderful clear soup. Okay, it's got I'm gonna let him tell you what's in it, but it's plain, but at the same time very, very flavorful. And whether it's a hot or cool day outside, it's very, very tasty and really great for the appetite. So a real good beginner. Tell us what is in the clear soup, please.
The clear soup has dashi broth, and then we include soba noodles and mushrooms and scallions.
Now, what is dashi broth?
Dashi broth is made out of fish broth.
Okay, fish.
And then kombu kelp.
Kombu what?
It's a type of seaweed.
Seaweed.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And then mushrooms, and put over what noodles you put?
Soba noodles.
Soba, my favorite. The soba is buckwheat, but I think there's 2 types of soba noodles. The green, which is cha, and that's made from tea,
yeah. And
the brown, which is yama, which is made from potato. I think these are the brown.
These are actually soma noodles.
Soma. Oh,
Somen,
that's soba.
somen.
And then, yeah. Okay. S-O-M-A, not S-O-B-A.
S-O-M-E-N.
E-N, somen.
Yeah,
like ramen.
Yeah.
Somen.
Yeah.
Somen, okay. Well, soba's my favorite, so.
It's mine too.
I wish we had soba in there. Anyway, that's complimentary, folks. So we've talked about 2 items. You sit at sushi bar, you're going to get that and that wonderful tuna dish. Now let's look at salads. Some people like salads. Nothing wrong with adding it to your dish or eating it as a whole. First one we say is very unique. Now, until this is the first time I have to admit that I have seen this salad in a Japanese restaurant. And again, it's not in a lot of restaurants. The only nationality that I've seen it before and is Thai. There's 3 restaurants, to my knowledge, in New Orleans that serve green papaya salad. But I am so glad, and 1 or 2 of them are uptown, the others in Metairie. One is I'm really glad, and this one is different than the papaya salads I've had in a Thai restaurant. So let's take a look at it. And Twan, why don't we go ahead and describe how you're preparing this great dish?
This is thinly sliced green papaya. It's Thai influence, but it's not your typical Thai papaya salad. It's made with our own dressing.
Not. For those who eat papaya salad, why don't you tell me why not?
The dressing that we make is different, and the texture is different from Thai, but it's actually...
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that dressing, because that's what I noticed right away.
The dressing is made with the sweet chili sauce, as well as other ingredients that we add in there, and it's added with chopped peanuts.
Chopped peanuts. Well, most of the Thai restaurants do use peanuts, so that part is the same. Some will throw in shrimp, which is not something that has to be. The thing I liked about this is that most of the Thai restaurants will put it on a base of lettuce because they want to fill. Here you have the largest portion of papaya I have ever seen in a salad. So that's the meat of the salad. So folks, because papaya is tedious and maybe expensive, but more tedious than anything, the other ones are really more like appetizer portions and so in order to fill you up, they're putting other things in, and they use their normal dip that they use for like satay or something. It's a cucumber dill dip, which is not bad at all. But this dip is a little softer, But the most important thing here, folks, is the volume of papaya. If you really like papaya, and especially sliced so thin here, it's just delightful, then you're going to really relish this one. So once again, if you are like me and always order papaya salads in a Thai restaurant, give it a try here and you're going to be pleasantly surprised. All right, now the next thing is something most of you out there are going to say, what in the heck is that Bob's talking about? The next thing can be considered a salad. It can be considered an appetizer. It can be considered a side. It's called, in the Japanese, and I don't know the translation, oshitase. I had to learn it early on because I fell in love with it. It's not something, it's on a lot of Japanese menus, but very few people that I know have ever tried it or will eat it. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to let Twan describe it, and then I'll come back and put about 2 cents. Why don't we tell what we're looking at here, Twan?
We're looking at a cold appetizer. You can make it with any kind of greens. In this case, it's California spinach. It's blanched and it's served cold with a vinaigrette that we make on the side. It has ponzu, or it has yuzu, it has sesame oil, and then it's topped with sesame seeds. And then it has other ingredients in there too.
Other ingredients? Like
Yeah.
Sneaky ingredients.
Yeah.
I don't like to hear that. Now, you said ponzu and uzu. You put both in there?
Our ponzu already have yuzu in it. Yuzu is actually the citrus. Yeah.
But don't confuse it, people. I tried to explain there. Ponzu is yuzu, but with soy.
Yuzu is actually a citrus. It's a fruit.
I know.
It's like a lime.
Like
yeah.
a lemon lime. But what I'm saying is ponzu adds soy to that.
Yes.
So which one is it? Does it have soy in here or no?
It has soy in here too.
So it's ponzu.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry. Again, this is a fabulous dish. I consider it a salad, but as he mentioned, because it is served cold. It's cooked, but it's served cold. So don't think of this, oh, that's a great side dish, nice warm spinach dish. Absolutely not. My favorite oshitase is actually with shungiku, which is the chrysanthemum green, the actual flower, which is the emperor's flower. And I'm not going to go into that because you don't have that here. But the important thing is everyone knows spinach, and if you're a spinach lover, this is a great variety. So that's why I asked them to put this in. Not that it's the biggest seller, because the majority of the folks do not know about it. They'll see it on the menu. They'll overlook it. They'll see the Japanese word. I don't know. I'm sure it's described. But they just don't think about it. They've never seen what it looked like. They have no idea what it tastes like. So if you are a Japanese diner, and you really like, and you want to try something new, and you don't have to be Japanese, American, and you like spinach, you like it, here's a great variation on it. So once again, whether you want to eat it as a salad, as an appetizer, or as a side, but just remember it's served cold. And the idea of adding sesame seeds are one of my favorites, and to put that with the citrus flavor, really dynamite, even though dynamite's used for another role, so I shouldn't use that term. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to look at, so I think we've seen the salad, so now we're going to look, as you know, in Japanese you can have hot food, which are wonderful plate items. I think we only have one plate item, and it's not a Japanese item, which I guess is my fault because I love it so much. But predominantly, and what Americans think of sushi is American sushi, and that is either rolls or one of the different types of sushi or sashimi. So rolls are really the personification of American Japanese food. That's immediately what they think of. After that, it's raw fish. Other than that, they don't know one from another. So rolls have become the predominant item that Americans eat in sushi bars. So what better way than to have, and as you know, every time you go to a Japanese restaurant, there's a slew of rolls with names from everything under the sun. And many times you might enjoy a roll at one restaurant and you memorize the name of it, especially a lot of them are named after cities or cliches, and you'll go to another restaurant and, hey, it doesn't taste the same. So that is a dilemma. There is not always consistency, and even more so when you go out of state, when you start going to sushi bars in Boston or New York or other places in the continental U.S., the same roll that you might love might be called something told, might not even be done at that restaurant. So that's the key. With the proliferation of rolls and the continued expansion of rolls, make sure you read that fine print, or make sure you know what the ingredients are, things that you like, as opposed to hoping that you know what it is. All right, so we've got some really exclusive ones for you here because, again, the basic ones are always there, but we want to lure you to those with those signatures. The first one is what better name than Kakkoii, named after. And did we talk about the name of Kakkoii, what it meant? Some people think it means the fish, and the Kakkoii fish is not. Tell us, Twan, what does Kakkoii mean?
The name of the restaurant is called Kakkoii. It's 3 syllables, Kakkoii, K-A-K-K-O-I-I. It actually means cool or an adjective for awesome. So we wanted to use something where we could use that adjective that we use on a regular basis and also, implement Japanese into it as well.
I don't know about that 3 syllables. Anyway, cool. And what better name for this restaurant? Because the look of it that they've done is just phenomenal, plus the food they're serving is certainly cool. And what better way, like I say, let's take a look at their signature roll. Look at Bob, went ahead. Forgot. Sorry, folks, we had one besides rolls, sashimi, which is not as popular if you really, once you get into eating fish, but most people like to have rice. This is my favorite. When you go to a restaurant and ask for white fish, that is really the fish of the day. That could be among, there's a slew of white fish that are available depending on what the fisherman is bringing in locally. This is my all-time favorite, and that's flounder, sashimi. But white fish can be cobia or lemon fish. Sometimes it can be, I think, grouper. Red snapper is a wonderful version. And TRAN will tell us some more. So let's talk about, first of all, your flounder sashimi here.
Yeah, like you said, whitefish is like the fresh fish of the market of the day. In this case, it's flounder, thinly sliced flounder, put on the plate without ponzu dressing, and that's the whitefish of the day.
And I'm going to put you on the spot. Your whitefish is locally caught. Is that true or not true?
Well, whitefish, it depends on who we get it from, but usually we choose what is locally caught here.
Predominantly
locally caught, yeah.
Yeah, I know you special. And that is one because it's one that grows in our waters. And so it's something that, so for the most part, that's what's so good about whitefish. You know you're getting it from a local fishery and a local waters, as opposed to some of the more exotic stuff might not come from here at all. It has to be imported, which doesn't affect it. But at the same time, this is the freshest of the fresh when you're eating whitefish, because it's usually brought in that day, that morning, by the whoever purchased either at a fishmonger or directly from the fisherman. All right, so if you love sashimi, really a top notch. Ask for flounder if they have it. Now you have ponzu sauce on here, huh? Is that what that's on now or no?
Yes, I believe that's ponzu.
Yeah. Again, a good flavor, but you can put what you want. A little sriracha would be great on it too. All right, now let's try one more time to actually start with the rolls. And the first roll is the signature roll. We like to get that out of the way, and that would be the Kakkoii roll. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. There we go. Got it right this time. And Twan, when we talk about what do we have here, because this is a little bit unusual roll, and that's why it's named after the restaurant.
This is a riceless roll, wrapped
Riceless.
Yeah, it has no rice in it.
Got that, folks? Okay, make sure we got understood. Rice, no rice in this at all.
It's wrapped in cucumber with tuna, salmon, yellowtail, snow crab, avocado, and asparagus.
Okay, so we got tuna, yellowtail, 2 fish.
Salmon.
Salmon too?
Yes.
3 fish. Avocado. What else?
Snow crab.
Snow crab. Snow crab has got mayonnaise in it, folks. And then what's the last thing?
And it's rolled and asparagus.
Asparagus.
Yeah.
And then rolled with cucumber. So,
correct.
and for most people, the rolls are done with seaweed, but this is a diversion on that. So, and you'll find that if you've ever tried a roll with something like cucumber or an Asian one I won't tell you about, I like it better because it's much more crispy and cold as opposed to just the seaweed. Not that there's anything wrong with the seaweed. But no rice in it. And that's where you're seeing some of the trend is moving away from rice in the rolls. Like I can't eat white rice anymore because of being a diabetic. So some of the restaurants do brown rice, some people don't. But more and more I'm eating rolls that are riceless, as he says. So here's a perfect one named after the restaurant. Okay, now let's take a look at another one. And this one, if it's the one I'm thinking about, this will knock your socks off when you take a look at it. Because if we can bring it up, I believe, yes. This is called the dragon roll. Now, I know you've heard that at many other restaurants. And the difference here is, well, first of all, you can see, look at the sculpting here. You got several angles of it, and if that doesn't look like a dragon, I don't know what else does. So why don't we tell, first of all, what is the head and the tail made of before we move to the, we're going to have an angle version where we'll see the inside of the roll.
The head is made out of snow crab and octopus for the eyes and the nose, just for a garnish. The tail is made out of shrimp, and then it's a roll inside a snow crab and it's topped with barbecue eel and avocado.
All right, let's move to the second picture. So we got the head and the tail. We talked about what it is, but let's move to the next picture and we'll see the actual roll itself is the body. Okay, now let's go over what's in that because that's different and very, very tasty.
Yeah.
So first of all, what's rolled up on the inside?
Inside is snow crab.
Snow crab again, and then what we have out? Do we have rice in here?
It's rolled with seaweed and rice. Inside is snow crab. It's topped with barbecue eel, avocado, and we use shrimp and snow crab to make the head of the dragon.
Yeah, we talked about head. I'm just talking about the body. Yeah. So we got and for those that don't know, eel is really barbecued originally as it comes. It's not a raw fish at all. And it's toasted again in a toaster oven or something to heat it, to give it a crispy, crispy flavor. And of course, do you put on your eel sauce here or some other sauce on top?
We put eel sauce.
Eel sauce, which is, for those who know, for me, it's kind of a dark-looking sauce, almost over sweet. It gets to the point. It's almost like molasses. It's got a heavy sweetness, but everyone loves it on what they call the barbecue eel. So this is definitely another significant roll that you won't find, or you'll find it in total different venues and looking different. So this is great, not only scare your guests, but also plead. Again, it's not something that one person, I think, can eat unless that's all they're eating, because the vast amount of snow crab involved in it is quite filling. Okay, let's see. I think we have, now we're going to take a look at an entree. As I said, we really didn't do too many Japanese plates, because, as I mentioned, they have a few Thai dishes like the papaya green salad, which is great. So we've got a little other influence to lead you there. Should you want to try something different, or somebody likes something different? And that, I believe, is the staple of Thailand, pad thai. Now, this was a shrimp pad thai. And why don't we tell those people, in case they've never had pad thai, either Thai or in a Japanese, what exactly it is and how do you prepare yours?
Pad thai is actually made with rice noodles, the same kind of rice noodles that you would get in, like a pho broth. But this is our take on pad thai, just like our take on the
right. You're very. So
different.
Let's talk about how you prepare it.
We prepare ours with a dressing that we make similar to Thai, but we add different flavors to it, flavor profiles. We put shrimp in it, tofu. You can have it with chicken. You can have it with fish. It all depends on what your palate is.
Well, what we need to find out, though, which we haven't explained, is how does your sauce differ than the Thai sauce? Because there is a total, I guarantee you folks, if you've eaten traditional Thai pad thai, this looks a lot like it, but tastes differently. So can you tell us what the difference is?
We use less fish sauce than they do, and it's not as spicy.
Right. Okay, there's the key, which is amazing because we have Vietnamese here, and they usually are putting spicy things. So if you like it spicy or you're conditioned to doing spicy, what I recommend is that you ask for some sriracha. But I told you that's that red. You saw it on the shumai. Ask for a bottle of that and add it to the sauce to bring the flavor up. So that's the only thing I found about this, that it was so mild, I needed to actually bring the flavors up, bring that heat up, because that's what I'm used to. But other than that, it was great, and great to have a taste treat that was a little different than Japanese food by mixing food. Okay, let's see. I think that's all the pictures we have before we go to desserts and beverages. So let's see if we can. Oh, my mistake. We got two more rolls, folks. Gee whiz, look at that old memory's going so bad. Here's a great roll named after our city, the NOLA roll in New Orleans, Louisiana. Tell us look how pretty and colorful it is.
This roll is rolled with, inside is spicy crawfish with cucumber.
Spicy crawfish, okay.
And cucumbers inside.
Okay.
And it's topped with spicy tuna on top.
Rice on the inside too?
Rice is rolled on the outside with seaweed.
Okay, with seaweed. Yeah. And then on top?
On top is spicy tuna.
Spicy tuna. So spicy tuna is tuna that is sauce. It's basically chopped up, it's kind of real fine, and sauced with some different spices, and probably mayonnaise too. But gives it really elevates the flavor if you like the spice on it, if you don't want it just plain. And then what else do you have on top of that? It looks like caviar?
Tempura flakes, green onions.
tempura flakes, and green onions. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Nola roll. So try that if you like those ingredients. And lastly, we have one more roll, and this one, the colors, the name of it, of course, is Purvis City, the Houdat roll. And notice the colors, black and gold. Any clue there? Go ahead and tell us, first of all, what's underneath the black and gold in the Houdat roll.
This is rolled with soy paper. In the inside, we have spicy tuna as well, cucumbers. On top is mango and black tapico.
Okay, let's go over that a little slower. So first of all, folks, we have, we're using soy paper instead of using seaweed or instead of using cucumber. Soy paper and there's also rice paper, or very thin sheets made on different ingredients that are better for you. Well, the rice paper has rice, but the soy is made from soy products and therefore is much healthier for you. Plus, it's much lighter. So these are ones that are being used in rolls usually without rice. But on this one, we have rice on the inside, and we have, what else? Spicy tuna?
Spicy tuna and cucumbers.
And cucumber. So we roll that in rice, and then we roll it in soy paper, too.
Soy paper, correct.
Okay, then on top, we're putting wonderful fresh mango, the fruit, right?
Correct.
And not wasabi, tabiko. Tabiko is caviar, black caviar.
Black caviar, correct.
It's not, don't answer, it's not the Russian, it's not the top grade caviar, folks. Nobody serves that locally. But those fish eggs are delicious on it. So there you go. Now I think we've finished. We haven't done a lot of, like I said, the cooked food, but most of the cooked food is standard, whether you're talking about teriyaki, whether you're talking about katsu, whether you're talking about tempura. Those are usually just different meats or seafoods, fried or done barbecued, and you can get them at any Japanese restaurant. So that's why they have all that on the menu, but we decided not to pursue that because we wanted to show you some unique items. Anything else you want to say about that before we take a listen and look at our musician and before we move into the dessert and beverage? Anything else on the menu or anything else you want to say about the restaurant?
I just ask everybody if you have to find a time to come visit us.
No, don't if that. You used the wrong word. Not if, folks. It's when. You need to find the time. So find the time. Then come and visit, and you'll be happy you did. Okay, let's go ahead. You know what we said today is an experiment. We are going back in the archives way back instead of recently and finding some of our early acts and bringing them to you, not live, of course. Some of them we don't know where they are, but trying to give you a little variety since we're having a heck of a time trying to get live musicians in the studio. But we want to keep our format because it's the way we started and the way we want to continue. So we're bringing back who you heard at the beginning, and the gentleman's name, of course, of the trio is Jesse Moore. He's a local guy, has some CDs, used to play all around town, and he was here and live with us, I believe it was in 2005. So let's go here. Very peppy. Let's go ahead and see what his second song is, and then we'll continue with TRAN after the song.
Sadness kicks right through me like an indigo sensation. Leaves me crying lonely through the night. The madness sticks right to me like a sin that'll never wash away. It keeps me lying sleepless through the night. Never thought I'd find these blues laying here across my bed. Always knew the road I'd choose, I could see it in my head. Why things had to fall apart, I may never understand. I sit here watching helpless, I'm the stranger in the band. Like a tear that'll never fall away. It's never been too far away. It's always been as close to me as skin. I've always known this loneliness, it's an ever-present loneliness, like an old familiar moan upon the wind. Never thought I'd find myself singing naked in the rain. Always held my mask up high so you couldn't see the pain. Why I feel the way I feel, I may never understand. I sit here watching helpless, I'm the stranger in the band. My secret seemed to seal my fate with 100 million melodies, leaving me with nowhere left to hide. I can hear the siren sighs of 100 million memories whispering to me from the other side. Never thought I'd let you take a stroll across my heart. Always knew that if I did, it would only be the start. Maybe if I ramble on, you will finally understand. And this is just a visit, I'm the stranger in the band. Like a tear that'll never fall away, it's never been too far away. It's always been as close to me as skin. I've always known this loneliness, it's an ever-present loneliness, like an old familiar moan upon the wind. Never thought I'd let you take a stroll across my heart. Always knew that if I did, it would only be the start. Maybe if I ramble on, you will finally understand. And this is just a visit, I'm the stranger in the band.
That was Jesse Moore Trio, and that one, noticed that the girl in the lead were very melodic, so it was a nice little thing. I just wish she would appear to be a little more happy to be on the show. I'm glad it's been a while because I haven't seen her crack a smile once, you know. But at least her voice is lovely and it goes very well with him. So we got one more song with the trio, you know, at the end of the show. So stick around because they're enjoyable to certainly to listen to, I think. And don't forget, I know he's got some CDs out there. If you can, it might be a rarity now because we're talking about 2005. Who knows if they're still available? Okay, let me tell you who we're looking. We're looking at the latest Japanese restaurant in the city. It's opened 3 weeks ago, uptown in the University District on Maple Street, a very common restaurant row. The name of it is Kakkoii. And we're pleased to have the executive kitchen chef, TRAN, whose brother Dave owns the restaurant, but this is the one supposedly does all the cooking, according to him, so that's the key. And he's helped us out so much, and he did go over, and we'll rehash right before we close, once again, his hours and stuff like that. Now, we need to get in and talk about beverages first and then dessert. Beverages, we talked about that beautiful long bar you have that you certainly can dine at, but tell us what kind of beverage, no matter where you're sitting, what kind of beverages are you serving to your guests?
We have a variety of sodas as well as draft beers, different imports, microbrews, a variety of liquor, wine, white wine, red wine, and sake, whether it be cold sake or warm sake, whatever your pleasure is.
Do you have different types of sake besides the cold? Do you have
Yes,
different?
we have different flavored sake.
Good.
Different
Some
flavored
people are so specific, just like about their wines. They want a certain brand, and nowadays so many sakes are imported here that there's you can do a sake tasting because there's so many. So you do offer both cold and warm sakes and a variety of that, because that of course is very. Do you offer any Japanese beers or no?
Yes, we offer Japanese beers as well. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So they got the gamut for you. Whether you want domestic or international stuff, they're going to be able to handle you. And of course, I'm sure they got some. I haven't seen any of the bartenders, but I know they're going to be great mixologists because they have to be, and especially in this area where it's going to be so many students that they have to know how to make every of the latest drinks. And drinks seem to be coming out every day in a flurry. So many new drinks, so many different variations, as well as liqueurs and liquors, flavored, infused, etc. Okay, now let's talk about desserts. We only have a picture of one, so we're going to show that, describe it, and then I think, if I remember correctly, there are a couple of others. We want to talk about that if we have a few minutes. But let's look at this great dessert. Usually, in most Japanese restaurants in the old days, would strictly fruit, fresh fruit, like oranges, etc., or the wonderful fried ice cream that was tempura, that became a fixation back in the 80s and 90s. There was such a fascination. How was it done? How was it done? How was the ice cream kept cold and the outside hot? All right, we're over that, I hope, but still available in a lot of places. This brings a much more New Orleans, much more eclectic look at desserts. And let's take a look at, I believe it's called molten lava cake with, of course, ice cream. Look how pretty this is. Tell us a little bit about it, Twan.
This is a cake that we serve warm. We get it from one of our vendors. We have a scoop of vanilla ice cream that's from a local vendor here as well. And it's one of the varieties of desserts that we have. Okay,
now let's talk a little bit more depth than that, because, you just said it's one of the cakes we get from a vendor. What about the cake? Can you tell us more details about the cake? It's obviously chocolate.
It's chocolate with a chocolate mousse in the middle. It's served warm.
Right. That's where the idea of the molten or the lava is, because the inside has the warm to almost hot chocolate. I don't forget whether it's a mousse or a sauce.
It's in between. It's
in between. Yeah. So obviously, when you break into this, it's going to ooze out and also ooze into your mouth. And what better way to pair it than with ice cold ice cream? And of course, you don't want to put anything real fancy flavored. Nothing better than crisp, clean vanilla ice cream. But look how pretty this thing is painted. Very, very pretty. So a really pretty picture. And is that like a mint leaf or something on top there? Giving more color. Of course, I love mint. Mint has wonderful properties for you. Me, I chew the mint and eat it. You might not want to do that, but if you want to know why, one day I'll give you the full good reasons. All right. Now, quickly, I think Dave told me on occasion that you do have, or maybe all the time, a couple of others or some additional desserts. Do you know what those would be, Twan?
Yes, we have a different variety of flavors of mochi as well.
Mochi. Well, all right, now we got to stop there now. Let's talk about mochi. Mochi is not a word that most Americans know.
Mochi is a word for kind of like a dessert dumpling. It's made out of rice flour or tapioca flour. Inside is filled with a variety of ice creams, whether it be vanilla, strawberry, mango, whatever flavor it is. So the mochi itself is flavored as well.
And how is that prepared? Is it fried or what is it
It's
done?
prepared cold.
Cold.
Yeah.
So it's not heated at all,
No.
Just cold. Okay, Twan.
Some people call it ice cream bombs.
Ice cream bombs.
Yeah.
Okay, named after me. Great. Excellent. Now, anything else? I thought you told me, I didn't hear about that, about ice cream bombs or mochi, which I know what mochi is, but I thought there was one other dessert. Is there anything else that you know about?
Our desserts on the menu, we have different ice creams, different flavored ice creams.
Okay.
We have tempura cheesecake.
Tempura cheesecake.
We have banana fosters. We have tempura bananas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of the traditional from New Orleans and some of the things you can find somewhere else. But so if I were you, I would stick, if you really want dessert, and again, you don't have to have dessert. None of us really need it. But if you have to have it, I would stick with the one we've shown because I think it's really the best looking and the best tasting. Okay, we need to wrap up because, hey, the old clock in the wall tells us that, or our floor director does anyway. We're real pleased today to introduce the newest Japanese restaurant, Kakkoii, on Maple Street on the corner of Hillary, right across or right between the Brunos, the original Bruno and the new two-story Bruno. It's open. Remember, it's closed on Mondays, if I remember correctly. It's open for lunch Tuesday through Friday, and shuts down around 2:30. Opens again about 5:30 till either 10 on Tuesday through Thursday and Sunday, and on Friday and Saturday by midnight for your pleasure. Got some great new dishes, great look. You'll love the look of the place. Very hip, you know, it's got to be hip to entice all the trendy little college kids that, you know, I don't even remember being that. But anyway, so we got to have that look because that's what today's restaurant. Anything else you want to tell us because we're real short on time?
I just want to tell y'all, come and see us.
Come and see us.
Tuesday through Fridays,
Okay.
Saturdays and Sundays. We also have from 5 to 7, Tuesday through Friday. It's called Kakkoii time.
Kakkoii time.
With
And what do we do there?
We have drink specials, appetizer specials, and specials on beer.
Specials, specials, and specials. You can't beat it. 3 syllables, just like Kakkoii. Okay? Remember that, folks. It runs at what time?
5 to 7.
5 to
Tuesday
7.
through Friday.
Try them out for anything, whether you go for Kakkoii time or regular time. We've showed you some great dishes today. We really appreciate Dave and TRAN coming in and telling them about their great restaurant. We will see you next week. Next week is Artist Review. So remember, we'll see. I've forgotten the gentle lady's name who's coming on. But watch us for the art. Otherwise, we'll see you in the restaurants. Take care.
This one and do something called La-Di-Da.